With the Quick Step Uni-Click system, you choose where you want to begin. Try out a few boards to determine which direction works easiest for you. This video shows installation for right-handed people working from left to right. Left-handed people may want to work the other way. Begin the first row with a full board. First, saw off the tongue lengthways and across. Place the board with the sawn-off crosscut tongue along the side of the wall. Start on the left, then place the long sawn-off side in the direction of the other wall. Leave about 1.5 feet of space. Place spacer blocks from the Quick Step tool installation kit between the crosscut edge of the board and the wall. That way you'll obtain a sufficiently wide expansion joint of 5/16 to 3/8 inch. We'll return to the importance of this at a later stage. You can click the boards into one another in two ways. Both tongue and groove and tongue are possible. Tongue and groove is the easiest way. Place the board to be assembled at an angle of 20 to 30 degrees against the board that has already been installed. Move the board gently up and down while exerting forward pressure at the same time. The boards will click together when properly lined up. You'll hear a click, which means that the boards are now perfectly butted up to one another. Now, turn the second board with the tongue along the long side into the long groove of the first board. To prevent the boards from clicking out from one another, place a weight on the boards that are already finished. Now, take the third board and first anchor the crosscut tongue edge into board 2. Now, rotate the third board into the long groove of board 1. To do that, tilt the previous board up a little, and then you'll be able to click the boards snugly together. Place your hands close to the edge that you've just joined. From board 4, saw off the tongue on the long side, just like with all the boards used for the first row. To install the fourth board perfectly, you'll need to sit in another place. Use your knees to support board 3 and rotate the crosscut tongue edge of board 4 into board 1. Then rotate the long tongue edge of board 4 into board 3. Next, install board 5 in the same way. First, click the crosscut tongue edge into board 3, and then anchor the long side into the groove of board 4. Mix the boards up sufficiently to create a beautifully natural floor. To make it easy to work, you'll have to move at regular intervals. Now, complete the remainder of the row. Place the crosscut tongue of the next board into the groove of the previous one. Then rotate the long sides into one another. At the end of the row, measure the last board in this way. Saw it to the correct length. Remember to take an expansion joint of 5/16 to 3/8 of an inch into account. Install the short end in the same way. Finish off the second row in the same way. Next, lay the third row in the normal way and begin with a cutoff piece. Make sure that there is at least 6 inches between the crosscut joint and successive rows. Otherwise, it's better to take a new board. Do not throw the other board away. It will certainly fit in another row. But there's no need to keep any cutoff pieces less than 6 inches long. Remove the spacer blocks and push the 3 rows you have clicked together against the long wall. To create another expansion joint of 5/16 to 3/8 inch, place spacer blocks between the wall and the board to the left and above. The main component of the quick-step laminate floorboards is wood. As the level of humidity in the room may fluctuate, the wood may expand or contract up to 1/4 of an inch for every foot of length. The greater the area of laminate floor, the bigger the expansion gap should be. Please note the maximum length and width of a single stretch of floor is 40 feet. As far as possible, try to separate the rooms from one another. To do that, use a T-molding, which we'll talk about later. If you come up against a heating pipe or some other obstacle, don't worry. Here's how to solve this particular problem. In places where it's difficult or impossible to rotate the boards into one another, you can also click them together horizontally. This is the type of situation you encounter up against door frames or radiators. All you need is a hammer and a uni-click tapping block. Do not use anything else and work patiently. Always tap gently on the block at first and increase the power of each tap gradually. Do not over-tap. As you can see, with a little careful work, you can get around obstacles and keep on working right up to the last row.